There's Bob. Hi, Bob. You can't hear us. Why can't I hear anything? Yep. Where are you at? Just getting home. I'm on. Yeah, I'm on Zoom. I use Zoom. It starts at yeah, but they have the Zoom up pointed at the grave right now, and Bob's there and everybody. All right. All right. Bye bye. Who's calling me? Sandy. I'm on. What? Yeah. Where are you?
I wanted to bring some levity to this. So I was going to say when Tobie was dying.
Hi everyone, the family would like to say hi. And so I've requested for you to unmute if anyone wants to interact. Hi.
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 Who's this?
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
Hi, Alan. This is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Helen. Hi, Rhoda. I'm sending a big hug.
Yeah, us too.
Hi,
doing
Barry.
all right?
Hi. It comes and goes. Stacy's behind me.
Yeah,
Hi,
they want
Stacy.
someone.
Hi.
Don't know if you remember
Kellen?
me.
Oh, of course we do. They can see you over here. Your brothers are on.
There's Sandy. There's Sandy now.
Oh yeah,
Where are we?
we're here.
Hey, Bob.
And Kellen got up.
Hey, Alan.
I don't know if
Rhoda.
you can hear us. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I muted us.
Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted us to unmute Sandy.
They want to unmute?
Yeah.
You're unmuted. You're
I have
good.
3 brothers.
Okay.
This is 3.
That's Uncle Harry.
Hi.
And
That's
Kellen's
Alan.
missing.
And that's Wendy.
Who was there, Lisa?
That's Roseanne. And
I'll tell you in a
that's
second.
Kathy.
It's just telling Julian who's who. So here's Bob. Here's Julian.
Hi, Julian.
And then Kellen. Justin and Hannah are over here. And looks like Linda just pulled up.
Kendall,
Where's Kellen?
want to see my brothers?
Come here. Say hi to.
Sending kisses right now.
Say hi to Stacy.
Porta potty.
Say hi to
Take the car and
Stacy.
drive down there. Come here.
I think we do have a porta potty.
This is Kendall.
Hi, Kendall.
Here. Kendall is my 12-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
Go on.
That's his brother Sandy.
Side of the family. Thank you guys for being here.
We're here.
And Rhoda, thank you for being here. This sucks, and I'm not going to tell you any more than that you're not here. But I want to tell you something I came up with today. Tobie was on her deathbed, and she had a few breaths left. And in the sense of our relationship, I knelt down to her ear and I said, Tobie, I promise you, I really, really promise you, I will continue to bring the seat down. And in reality, I said, I will take care of your girls and your grandkids. But I think we needed a little levity, so I brought in the toilet seat. And you can understand why I have 3 brothers. The seat never went up.
No.
I mean, down. See, I'm all female now.
Yeah.
She even got me to sit.
God, okay.
Harry, you're looking a little red. How is that Florida? Is
You're muted.
oh.
Yeah, he's muted. So Sandy and
Where's
Brian are
Kellen?
muted.
He
Sandy,
might
I'm
be
mute.
on
Hi.
YouTube. He might be on YouTube.
Who, Sandy?
No, Kellen,
Oh.
my 19-year-old.
No, he's right here. But he's not. I'm going to call him. Where the heck is he?
Elizabeth's supposed to be on there and Matt. Go to the left-hand corner and hit unmute. Left bottom corner.
Hey, we're all on
Okay.
looking at your chair, empty chair. Yeah, will you come on and then unmute yourself?
Okay.
Okay, we'd like to see you for a second. Oh, okay. That's all right. Just
Hey,
come over for a
Lisa.
sec.
Lisa,
Yeah.
Sandy said that the host won't let him unmute.
Oh, I don't want to touch that. I don't even know how to.
Hello.
Hey, Kellen.
It says we can now.
Okay, you're good now. No.
Sorry.
Now we're unmuted. Now we can. Stacy, now you can hear us.
Ray went to the bathroom. She wanted to see you, Kellen.
Well, there's Alan talking about it.
Yeah.
Can you
Right
guys
here.
see each other?
All
Can you
right,
guys see
hear us?
each other?
This has been a long time.
Stacy.
There's Brian. Brian.
Hey,
Here.
Brian's
Oh
wife, Carolyn.
Lions.
What?
Robert.
You want me to do this since Braden's over there?
Where's Brian?
Oh my gosh.
I'm right here.
Okay.
There's Jenny,
Jenny,
Robert, and
Robert.
there's Braden.
There's some.
Oh wow. Crazy.
Bless you.
Here's Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi.
So it's about a 3-second delay.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Hi, Kellen. I love you.
Hi, Linda. Love you.
Love you.
Hey, Kellen. You look very well and comfortable.
Thank you. What do you guys think of my chair?
Can Kellen hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody can hear you.
Okay, Kellen, I'm your grandfather's older brother, Sandy. My wife, Kathy. Can you see us?
I can see it.
Don't get scared.
Nice to meet you guys.
Okay, nice. What school you go to? Are you at school?
I go to Fort Lewis College down in Durango.
Oh, wow. That's up in the mountains, isn't it?
It's down like southwest Colorado.
Oh.
Kellen, this is my brother Alan and his wife Wendy.
Yeah.
And this is my brother Barry
Nice to meet
and
you
his
guys.
wife Roseanne.
Rosanna Dana.
Yeah.
He's too young. He doesn't know.
Oh,
They're not up here.
Where'd Harry go?
Where did
Harry
Barry go?
Oh, I know where Harry went.
Oh, Harry.
Where's Barry?
I'm right here.
Here, bring Kellen, bring,
Oh, there's
I'm right here, Bob.
Harry, you look like you got a Florida tan.
I think it's just the lighting.
Ah, there's Barry.
Either that or the thing is really pinching.
Rhoda has me sitting next to her, but on my own computers.
Yeah.
Why can't you share?
Breathe in.
It's a long story.
Hey,
There's Brady.
This
Say
is,
hi to everybody.
Kellen, this is my brother Sandy's first grandson. I remember when you were that size. Bob, that's your space.
Oh.
Take a step back.
Hey, Bob,
Can you guys see me?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Trent just told him to take a step back because he's all up in your business.
Hey.
We were carrying the casket to the gravesite.
Yeah.
I was on the back end and I almost fell in with her.
Wonderful, thank you.
Guess we shouldn't be laughing. Hey.
As long as you don't lock your keys in the car.
Yeah, really.
I didn't drive.
Wi-Fi here.
Yeah, that's right.
a little.
I wish you were all here.
Yeah.
Hi, Rhea.
We were ready to fly out, so you said no.
You couldn't get out anyway.
Yeah.
I hear that
Quarantine.
coast is snowed in.
Oh, it is?
Snowed in? Oh, the East
Harry,
Coast.
is that true?
yes, we are snowed in.
Where do you live,
Is
Harry?
We're definitely snowed in.
Where's Brian?
Why,
Right here.
Hey, Brian.
Hey.
Can you see me?
why aren't I coming up when I'm talking?
Ryan, how do you feel from the COVID?
I'm doing a lot better. I'm back.
How about Carolyn? Hi, Carolyn.
How about you?
Hi,
Are
Carolyn.
you over the COVID?
Yeah. Barry, how are you?
You must.
I still
You
got a
must
little of that
be
tiredness, but it's
with,
going away.
You're with everybody that doesn't have a mask.
Oh, I was supposed to put my mask on.
Here, you go.
We've had our.
Come on over, and then
Wait, okay, this is my second granddaughter. This is, who are you? This is Rhea. This is Kellen's sister and Lisa's daughter.
In the car. Let me go get that, and I'll trim
And,
the little end so that you can easily.
Hi, Ray. I
This
love
is-
you.
My brother, this is your brother.
Okay, I recognize
I'm her
him.
sister.
This is my brother Alan and his wife
I'll be
Wendy.
right back. I'm
This
just.
is my brother Sandy and his wife Kathy. My brother
Oh, there's Isaac.
Barry and his wife Roseanne. And look at that. There's Isaac.
Oh, where's Isaac?
He's on.
Elizabeth is
Hi,
not-
Isaac. Okay, I don't know if I'll be able to read it.
Ryan, look at my shirt.
Yeah.
Lion.
Oh, there you go. I feel bad about Stafford though.
Hey, you see my tie?
It's very nice.
Guess who picked this out for me?
Who did?
Julian. This guy right here.
Nice tie.
Good job.
There you go, Julian. Yeah, that's Julian.
Sandy, you sure that's a Rosenberg? His nose is too small.
He's not even close to a Rosenberg.
No, he's too good
Here, I'll
looking.
show you the real Rosenberg. Look.
Yeah, yeah. If it's an innie, he's a Rosenberg.
It's the belly. It's the
All right, Barry, have some respect for my wife.
Oh,
Now is my nose big enough?
yeah. In the club.
You see,
That's
all
funny.
these are all relatives of yours. On my side. Yes.
Karen.
That was pretty funny there, little guy.
What?
What are you doing?
Oh,
Because my nose is too small for a Rosenberg.
Yeah, that's better. I like that way. That'd be good.
Okay, go on. Julian.
The reality.
oh, it's big, Julian. You're in.
Sandy, you got a little gray. What's up with that?
Hey, I also qualified for a vaccine. It makes me old.
I know.
You hear what Kathy said, Barry?
What?
Grecian formula for me.
Yeah.
I don't
I
think.
tried to do it, but it looked like shoe polish.
There's Matt. Hey, Matt's on.
Matt's in. Where's Matt?
Right there.
Hey, Matt.
That's my son, Matt.
Wow.
Hi, Uncle Bob, Matt.
Hey, Uncle Bob.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt. Uncle Bob.
Hey.
You see him?
Who the rest
Yeah,
of us?
I see him.
He's all grown up.
Is Mike on?
You'll have to excuse me. I'm going to have a
Not
home
yet.
inspector here any minute,
trying to
and I'm
get-
trying to work at the same time. So,
Just careful, Julian.
Are you selling your house?
yeah, we sold it in 2 days.
Wow.
Wow. Where are you
Where you
moving to?
going?
You going into the trailer?
I tried that, but the campground doesn't have a long-term spot until my new house is done.
Yeah, but your dad does.
Yeah, I'm not living there.
Why? Grandma Yo-Yo was going to live there.
In a
That was
trailer.
Uncle Barry.
I can't even do a weekend over at his house.
That's not because of me.
That's why I brought the camper during Thanksgiving so I can get away.
Okay.
Oh,
Gonna
hey, I
start-
can hear you,
this-
Matt. I can hear
This
you.
is, wait, come over here.
Hey,
This
Matt.
is Tony's other sister, Linda.
Hi, everybody.
This is my brother, Alan.
Linda.
His wife,
Hi.
Wendy.
Hi.
This is my brother, Barry. I don't know where his wife is.
She just took
It
off.
looks like Elliot.
Hi, Els.
This is my nephew, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
My brother,
Hi.
Sandy.
Hi,
His
Sandy.
wife, Kathy. He's a new grandpa to
Right, I remember
Brayden.
you saying that.
There's Roseanne.
Hi.
All right, this is going to start, so we got to go.
Okay.
All right. Well,
All right,
Sorry if
see you.
I'm running in and out. I'm teaching at the
Hey,
same
Elliot.
time.
muting.
Matt, text
Elliot,
your
it
sister,
looks
see if
like,
she's going to get on.
You look
Please.
like either Cat Stevens or God, who does he look like? James
Keanu.
Taylor when he was a drug addict.
Getting Keanu Reeves a lot recently.
But when he was a drug addict, that's a heck of a compliment, bud.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Debbie.
James Taylor is a drug addict. That's pretty funny.
All right, I got to go. See you guys.
All right, we'll be
I'll see you
watching.
when I can.
Worked out better than I thought it did.
Yeah, this works pretty good.
Yeah.
Wait, that was going to be Kendall, but I guess.
Well, she's working.
She said she'll be on.
Tell her we're all on there.
I just asked her if she was getting on. She said, yeah.
You have to mute yourself, you guys,
Why?
because it just said so.
Oh, I didn't see it. Had to unmute. There's Elizabeth.
Oh, yes. Just a friendly reminder to silence yourself.
Shamayim Varetz Aite Namot Raglecha Ayanu Shomrecha Ine Lo Yanu Elo Isha Shomer Yisrael. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. And I'm honored that before Tobie passed, she asked me to officiate at her service. We're gathered here today to remember, to celebrate your wife, your mother, your sister, your grandmother, your aunt, your cousin, your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, your friend. As we begin, I feel compelled to acknowledge the wrongness of the way we're forced to conduct this funeral because of COVID. We should all be together. As grateful as Bob and the family are that all of you are joining us on Zoom and streamed, they are so grateful that you are here with us from all over the country. We should all be together. Especially Kellen, her grandson, and Rhoda, her sister, and Harry, her brother-in-law, and Zoom. We should be here. We should be embracing each other. We should be grasping hands. We should be crying on each other's shoulders. We should be telling stories and laughing. We should be sharing food after the service and saying, I can't eat another bite. No, thank you. We should be laughing at the stories we share. But even if we can't come together in a Shiva home, even if we can't bring Shiva platters, and I don't even know if they know what Shiva platters are in Colorado, we can still support this family. We can still share with them the stories of Tobie and the photos of Tobie by posting them on the website so that the family and especially the grandkids can have those memories when they want them. And even if we can't come for dinner the next few nights and eat round foods that remind us of the circle of life, we can send Grubhub. And we can still support this family And I remind you and urge you to do that. Be gentle with them over the next month. I also want to remind you of a phenomenon that's happening during grief, during COVID, which is that grief, which is already intense, is being intensified in its poignancy because of the communal grief we've all suffered during this past year. We have all had so many ambiguous losses of things that don't get a funeral, little losses and big losses of graduations and swim team practice. And those little losses all collect inside us with no place to really be expressed. And then a funeral happens, which is really about mourning, which is really about letting go. And so for many of us at a funeral during COVID, we feel our grief more acutely. And so if this is your experience, I just want you to know that you're not the only one having that experience, and that it's healthy, and that it's natural, and that crying and shouting are all part of the process of this cascading grief. So Tobie's relationship with Judaism was interesting. Tobie grew up in a family that was more religious than the family she created. And although she was sad about that, she felt that her Judaism was so important to her because it connected her to her family. It was a connector. And I would agree with Tobie that that is one of the very powerful things that Judaism does. So I am going to share with you a poem from our sacred text from the book of Ecclesiastes that was written thousands of years ago by the poet named Kohelet. And what is powerful about this poetry, just the way Judaism connected Tobie with her parents and her grandparents, this poem connects us with Jews over thousands of years who have heard these words at times of grief and been comforted by them. And we are reminded that we are not the first to suffer grief and that we will get through it, just like the people who came before us did. So I hope as I read these words that you feel the connection to all those millions of people who have listened to these words before we are. For everything there is a season, a time for every experience under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Tobie really came into herself in her 60s, and she loved many things, probably most of all the grandchildren. But she loved her hiking with her chicks from Sticks Group, and so I really wanted to take you all on a hike, but I couldn't figure out a way logistically to do that. But she loved the chance to connect with nature, this beautiful day we have outside, to be with her friends, to get a little exercise. And she was also a yogini, which is a female person that practices yoga. So I thought, Tobie might enjoy if we just did a little tiny bit of yoga today. Don't worry, no downward dogs coming. What I'd like you to do is I would just like you to become aware of your body in your seat. If your feet are on the floor, notice the ground supporting your feet. Take a deep breath and notice the chair supporting you. Let the chair support you. And then maybe roll your shoulders a little bit. Get your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe roll your head. And I'd like you to take a big breath in. And with that breath, take in all the love that Tobie had for you. She loved you. She knew you. She listened to you. And as you let out a little bit of the grief for Tobie's death. And with this next big breath, I would like you to draw in the strength. That was Tobie. She was so strong. She was such a strong woman, and she gives you her strength to help you through your pain. And as you let out that breath, let a little bit of your grief go. And finally, with this third breath, I would like you to draw in the support of this community. There are so many people with us today, joining us from all over the country and all parts of Tobie's life. Draw in the support of this community that is going to help you through this difficult time and feel their love. And as you let that breath out, let go a tiny bit of your grief. As Ecclesiastes said, this is indeed the time to speak. And so I invite Lisa, Tobie's daughter, to come share some words with us about her mom.
Making a happy face.
Oh! I think we need something else. Did you get us a word?
I just did it a bunch of times on there. Oh, there you go. There you go.
That word.
I'm going to try and get through this, and if I can't, Rabbi Jamie's going to finish this for me. Lisa, this is so-and-so. She's the best. Well, you should just hear about her family. She's incredible. This is what Mom would say when a hospital employee walked into her room when she was in the hospital for 30 days following the bone marrow transplant. The nurses would hang out with her when it was slow. She knew all of the names of the CNAs and those who came to clean the rooms. When Aunt Linda was donating her stem cells, the nurses and CNAs would walk by and say, "This is for Tobie. This is Tobie's sister. We love Tobie." This is when I truly saw my mom's heart. That was not only for her family, but for everyone. She was a friend to all. Sometimes I didn't think she was the best listener, yet really she was always listening. I learned that she listened to every word of a person's story and always knew and used their name. All of you here today know this about her. You're here because you know this about Tobie and you experienced it too. What a gift my mother was. You all experienced her as a listener and also witnessed her strength. This strength looked different depending on the time frame in her life. In my early years, it was strength to get through the day with not ruffle feathers and keep things status quo. She had the strength to raise Stacy and I with a humble, quiet grace as to not disrupt a very tenuous household. She had strength in not needing acknowledgement, but in just doing her best day to day. During these early years, she had the strength and toughness to drive the shoulder of an LA freeway from Chatsworth to Burbank in traffic because she was pretty much late to work every day, and she had to make sure we were where we needed to be in the morning first. For those of you who thought she wasn't much of a risk taker, try driving the shoulder of an LA freeway in traffic. This is an extreme sport. She had quite a set of ovaries, and they're way stronger than balls. She told me about trying to buy a car in the 1980s and being infuriated that she needed a husband's signature and couldn't get a credit card without a signature either. She had spunk, did not take no for an answer, and got that credit card and got a car. It was a Ford Tempo that died often and was one of the worst cars ever. But she was so proud of that car, and I was proud of her. And that took a lot of ovaries too. As she got older, her strength shifted to tending to herself and her needs, something she had never really done before. And that might have been the most intimidating for her. Bob told me about the time she really wanted to go to a UConn women's basketball game. She went all the way to Madison Square Garden from Connecticut to New York and bought a scalper ticket to watch the game by herself. She moved to a new state while Bob finished out work in Connecticut and bought a house on her own without him present. She expanded her community. She started doing yoga, both Connecticut and Colorado yoga, as she called it with my sister and me. She found her Chicks with Sticks Sisters for Hikes, volunteered for the Democratic Party, and got to see Biden's inauguration, by the way, which I think she looked forward to that, and local outdoor attractions. She thrived in this particular space of strength. She branched out and not only found her communities, but also found herself, her authentic true self, which takes more strength than anything else. She was happy, active, and free, and she deserved every bit of it. Her bout with leukemia showed her incredible inner strength. When the doctors tried to tell her that she would be weak, tired, and lack motivation, she kept saying, well, maybe I won't. Bob, Stacy, and I tried to be realistic with her, and she still said, well, maybe I won't. She was frustrated with the realism. She wanted positivity and light, and we gave our best to give her that, but she was the one who carried the majority of it within her. She was right. Her strength, courage, and positivity gave her the ability to spring out of her wheelchair and ring that bell with such vigor. Maybe I won't was really a no, yes, I can. Seeing her ring that bell gave me such a deep sense of pride. I was so overwhelmed and overcome with emotion at that moment. That moment encompassed everything amazing about her and more. Listening, strength, and heart. Oh, her heart. It was always big, but it was always protected. It had to be this way for her. But it really exploded when she met Bob. And he made my protected heart explode too, which made her heart explode even more. So it was just one big heart explosion when I was a teenager. And how many households with teenagers can say that? Her heart grew and opened even more with her grandchildren. She had a special relationship with each one. She developed a strong sense of patience with her first grandchild, Helen. He stretched her to a place where she had to let go and have fun. Real belly laughing and exhausting fun. She hated sand. Hated it so much, she wouldn't even let me off the blanket at the beach when I was young. But when Kellen came along, that sand neuroses and phobia went out the window onto her floors, cars, etc. Instead, she was really present with him. Rhea indulged her with time at the sewing machine, crafts, and groundedness. Rhea's calm demeanor provided space for time-consuming, detailed projects, and they started at a fabric store and finished with gift wrapping. This brought my mom such joy. Kendall brought her a sense of wonder. Mom learned through Kendall that anything, like cardboard, for example, can be of use, and through Kendall's eyes was already a masterpiece before it was even created. Julian taught Mom to truly follow the child. She would say, I don't know what boys like. She learned through Julian that what matters is who the child is. Getting to know him was first and foremost. Their relationship really blossomed. And when I met Justin and Hannah entered her life, she had more than enough room in that big heart to envelop her too. She engaged Hannah in conversation to learn about her from her, and always included her in visits to the pool, the museum, and more. For Mom, it was always the more the merrier. And this is the part that might make her cry. With her incredible strength and heart, she eventually found forgiveness for others, yet still finding forgiveness for herself. I hope that as she let go and found peace from her physical pain, that she also let go of her own guilt and finally forgave herself of all that she still held on to. I'll miss her listening ear, her stories, strength, heart, and inclusion. I didn't always show my appreciation of these traits. I questioned her instead, but she understood, and it's because she always seemed to have an unspoken understanding of me. We are also fortunate to experience these beautiful qualities about her in our own personal ways. She was good at making people feel understood and special, just for being them and being in her life. Then I'd like to read what Kellen and Rhea had to say about my mom. This is from Kellen. Reflecting over these few days really makes me appreciate how lucky I was to spend time with such an amazing, kind, and funny woman. We were always close, but when she finally moved to Colorado, something that made her so happy made all of us happier too. It brought her into our everyday lives and thoughts. From bringing us chicken matzo ball soup when we were sick, or making us all laugh with recounts of the many adventures she had with the legendary Chicks with Sticks. If you're watching and you're with the Chicks with Sticks, we talked about you quite a bit. We all loved that group, and we haven't met you. Kellen says, I still remember her face when she agreed to pick me up from school. She had to watch me try and shove my incredibly muddy mountain bike into the back of her pristine car. She just grit her teeth and set out making sure no speck of mud would touch the inside of her car. She was constantly doing her best to make everyone feel as happy and loved as possible. I love you, Grandma, and I miss you. Rhea's word. Ray said, when thinking about Grandma, the first memories that come to my mind involve our many projects. My grandma was my creative buddy. Her attention to detail spoke to my little perfectionist heart, and her exuberance for crafting and design grew my creative spirit. I can think of her beautiful accent wall in the dining room that we measured, leveled, and taped so painfully exact in order to have perfect stripes going down her wall. But even focus didn't stop us from having some fumbles. When I was learning to sew, we would sit in her basement for hours cutting fabric and sewing pieces together, only to have one leg put on backwards or sewn on wrong. Don't worry, Grandma had a seam whipper. And when both of us were frustrated and tired, my grandma would know exactly how to fix the issue, and she would carefully rip each stitch out for me to try again and again. There was never a time when Grandma didn't make me feel cared for and loved. From dancing with me at amphitheater concerts in Dillon, bringing me cinnamon applesauce after every gymnastics practice, taking me on day-long shopping sprees, and cheering me on for every achievement. Her love and support never fell short, and she went above and beyond to take care of those she loved. I'm going to miss my grandma's endless positivity and her pure joy and love for life. And I'm going to miss her tender, thoughtful heart that loved me so well. And I hated wind when I was little, and I'd bury my head in her shoulder when I was little whenever it got windy, and it's windy right at this moment while I'm saying this, so somewhere she's here, and I'm going to go bury my head in her shoulder. Thank you.
Rhoda, if you're listening, we are ready for you to unmute. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Stacy. I'm her youngest daughter, even though I'm quite tall. She doesn't fit. Okay. When you think about this moment, you think about the well thought out, profound words that you're going to write or say. But as I sat to write, I have so many things I want to say, yet I feel like I can't find the right ones. But I know it doesn't matter what I say in this moment. She knows exactly how I'm feeling. It's no secret we didn't have a close relationship growing up. I was angry and she felt guilty. But as much as I tried to push her, the only reaction she responded with was to make sure how much she loved, to make sure I knew how much she loved me and how much she believed in me. But she also just believed me no matter what. Like the time I was in preschool and I told her that a helicopter landed at the school. She believed me. Well, until the next day I told her the helicopter came back and I got in and flew around. Or the time in high school when I ditched English and the teacher called her to say I wasn't in class. Yet I convinced her that I was. She believed me and she stood by me even though my shenanigan caused her to have to go to school and meet with the counselor and the English teacher to defend my case. I can still remember her chuckle when I finally gave her the truth at my graduation, and her smirk every time she retold that story. I always made her late. I wonder why she had to drive the freeway shoulder, which I didn't know until my sister told me that. But I always made her late. I always needed 5 minutes more to put on my shoes or brush my teeth. There was always a lot of honking and screaming, "Let's go!" while she would wait for me in the car. And now I find myself sitting in the car, honking the horn at my kiddos. and it feels like a connection in a strange way. The other day, I was going through her Facebook posts. Her feed was mostly of sharing posts about being a mother and a grandmother. And reading them through this new lens, they felt completely different. Two of them really spoke to me. The first read, "My greatest wish is that my kids always know how much I love them and that they walk through the rest of their life knowing I'll always be there for them any way I can. I'm proud to say that never once as a kid or an adult did I ever question her love and how strongly she loved Lisa and I. I will walk through the rest of my life feeling the love and trying to ensure my kids feel that for me as their mom and how much their grandmother loved them." The second quote was about being a grandmother, and I shared this with Kelly and Rhea, and it read, "A grandmother thinks about her grandchildren day and night, even if they are not with her, and will love them in a way that they will never understand. Mom would say that Lisa and I were the light of her life, but I think her grandchildren were. I'm so thankful for the relationship she had with my kids. They gave my mom something that I could never give her, and I'm so grateful for that. No words can ever express my thanks to them for that. I hate to say that I'm grateful for her leukemia because, let me be clear, that illness is nothing to be grateful for. But what I'm trying to say is I'm grateful that it forced us to come together and have conversations we probably never would have had. During that time, we got to talk everything out and move forward. As strange as it sounds, I'm grateful for their alone time in her hospital room or at the time with her at her house. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry, sometimes we say I'm sorry. Sometimes we just sit and say nothing and just be. I can't put into words what that time meant to me, but I know that I don't have to, because I know she had the same feelings. It was sacred to us, and maybe it doesn't need to be explained. She was resilient. She was the most positive person I will ever know, and that positivity allowed her to do great things. She was quirky. She annoyed me. She was a protector. She was special. She was a great, great mom, grandmother, and wife. But most of all, she was happy. And from this point forward, that is what I will remember the most. She was incredible, and I'm going to miss her more than she will possibly know. I love you, Mom. Like Lisa said, we are representing our kids, and I'll read what Julian said first. These are his words. She's a great grandma, and it's going to be hard without her. But she is here with us now. She was always happy, energetic, nice, and we all loved her very much. We miss you, Grandma. And sweet, sweet Kendall. This is from her. She would always send my mom letters and jokes to brighten her day, and especially when she was in the hospital. My mom loved them. So Kendall thought it would be fitting to tell Grandma one more joke. You ready, Mom? Here it goes. I waited all night to see where the sun would rise, and then it dawned on me. We love you.
Oh, so beautiful. Those are such beautiful words, both of you. All right, now.
Okay. Rhoda, we are ready for you to.
My goodness, I'll watch myself. Okay. I wanted a chance to speak because most of you only know a section of Tobie's life. I am her younger sister, Rhoda, so I have known her my whole life. Tobie was 8 years older than me, so she was definitely my older sister, and I was definitely her baby sister. Either way you look at it, Tobie was definitely a person that I looked up to and admired most of my life. Not to say we didn't have our sisterly moments, but that is for another time. I want to tell you about the early years of this loving, strong, and courageous woman. As a young girl, Tobie was happy and she was adored by her parents and grandparents. Unfortunately, when she was 12 years old, our lives changed drastically with the passing of our mother. It was devastating to Tobie. As a preteen, she had to deal with her own grief by herself, as people at that time didn't know how to support children through a loss of a parent. In addition, she helped me with my grief by cuddling me in bed so I wouldn't upset our father, as Dad was just recovering from his first heart attack. I thought about this the other day as I looked over her Facebook page and saw that she had recently made a post about missing our mom. Tobie was a very good sister, and those cuddles meant the world to me. In the years that followed, she tried her best to become the woman of the house. I called Tobie my sister mom. Tobie learned emotional courage very early. Many in our family might not know this, but Tobie was a true trailblazer. She was raised when women stayed home. She was supposed to be a housewife or a secretary, wearing puffy dresses and teasing her hair. But instead, she protested with her peers to wear pants to school, fought to go to Woodstock. Yes, she left her puffy hair to be a hippie, and then fought to go to college and to get a college education. She had to convince my dad that women needed a 4-year college degree and that going out of state was a life experience she needed. Even though I admit she was following her boyfriend, but still, it was a very courageous thing to do. Tobie packed a huge college trunk, took a plane for the first time to attend a college she never saw. She often told me that leaving us to go to school was one of the most difficult decisions of her life, but she knew she needed to find her independence. Her actions convinced my father about the importance of a college education for women, but later he insisted Linda and I get a 4-year degree. After college, Tobie moved to California, raised 2 incredible girls, and established several lovely homes. I learned quickly that Californians move a lot. From her, I learned also about how to be a loving, nurturing mom and build my own home. I visited her often in California, and we had such a blast. She often talked to me about the passing of my parents' love, and encouraged me to help me to move forward in life. In California, she met Bob. Oh, she was so excited. I was there when she was dressing to go on one of their first dates. That excitement never ended. Bob made Tobie so happy. From here, you guys know the rest. Tobie was always important. Family was always important to Tobie. She made a special bond with her immediate family and everyone in extended family. She was proud of everyone and showed it with a huge smile. She was always interested in what my kids were doing and always asked them at least 21 questions. Someone once wrote, most of us can point to a strong woman who shaped our lives and left their imprint on our character, our hope, and our dreams. The Bible has a beautiful term to describe this kind of woman. She's called a woman of valor. She's a nurturer, but also a warrior and a fighter at heart. She fights not only for her own personal world, but those she loves, but also for the world around her. Tobie, with her courage and teaching of love and optimism, left an amazing legacy that paved the way for all the women in the family, including myself, Linda, Lisa, Stacy, Karen, Debbie, Rhea, and Kendall, to be women of valor. And by the way, women of valor raised amazing sons and wonderful sisters. The story of all Tobie's grandkids is not yet written, but I know they are all going to be successful, virtuous people because of her influence. Now, Tobie, it's time to go ascend to the heavens and greet mom and dad and grandma and grandpa with your great smile. And at the Rainbow Bridge, do me a favor and give a huge hug to Harvey from Stacy. I love you so much.
So beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhoda.
Not write anything. And then
as I sat here, I would be remiss if I didn't get up and speak for my wife. She's the strongest woman I've ever met. I didn't think I could get through this, which is why I didn't prepare anything. Tobie taught me two things. She taught me how to live, and she taught me how to die. Something I will take with us for the rest of my life. Tobie was in the hospital for 5 weeks with congestive heart failure. I had no clue what that meant. I had no idea what leukemia was. I had no idea what bone marrow transplant was. I had no idea what a stroke was. As I stand here, I'm educated in all three of those, and I wish I wasn't. But I must tell you that it was a privilege to be able to take care of her. I couldn't put her in a skilled nursing facility because of COVID. She still didn't have her baby vaccines. And there's no way I could get her anywhere near anybody else. I was her protector. And the last 9 weeks, 24/7, Lisa and Stacy would relieve me when I got to the point where I just couldn't do it anymore for 4 or 5 hours. And I came back and continued to care for her the best I could. And I made sure she knew she was getting the best care there was out there. It was a privilege to take care of her. And now as I stand here, I can tell you that she was dying those 9 weeks, but I wasn't intelligent enough to be able to know it. Last Monday, we were going to the University of Colorado Anschutz for an eye exam and to pick up some specialized eye drops that were made of her blood. And her bone marrow transplant doctor walked in unannounced and said, "You're not going home. We're going to fix what this is." And it got to the point where they had no idea what was killing her. But from October 23rd until January 3rd, she could not breathe. And we suspect it was graft versus host disease. And if you don't know what it is, Google it. It destroys you from the inside. And I watched her change. And the most precious thing I got to do was watch her die. And I will forever be grateful that Lisa and Stacy and I got a second chance to say goodbye. She had closed her eyes, stopped responding to my squeezes Friday at 11:20, and went another 24 hours with shallow breathing. I wanted one more, just give me one more minute. And she opened her eyes. And the three of us stood there as babbling idiots, trying to find out if she was really there. And she was there. And we were about to move her to hospice. And the question I asked her is, "Do you want to be moved?" And she blinked once for no. And I said to these guys, "She's going to die at 2 o'clock." And she's at 2 o'clock-ish. She's not dead on. She died at 2:40. And it was the most peaceful passing. First of all, I've never seen a dead person. So I don't have any reference point to say what I'm saying. But it was very peaceful. I've never cried as much as I've cried. I've never heard as much as I heard. I've never been loved as much as I've been loved. And I would be remiss if I didn't stand up and tell you that I loved her. And she made me a better person. I'm gonna miss you, Tobie. I don't know how to get my right from my left. But thank you for the ride.
That was so beautiful, Bob. No, you can read. I am gonna read it. No way, I'm getting through it. So I'm reading on behalf of Linda. Do you need the microphone? I don't. I'm not comfortable with the meaning of it. Okay, sorry. What could I say about my big sister Tobie? Let's start at the beginning. When our parents brought, and this is Lisa who I'm reading. Linda, sorry, this is Linda who I'm reading for. What could I say about my big sister Tobie? Let's start at the beginning. When our parents brought me home, Tobie said, "What do we need her for? We were happy just the three of us." I guess I grew up. But as sisters, we had a bond that could not be broken. This bond was tested many times. The first test was the loss of our mother in 1961. We were blessed with a father who kept us all together and was a single father, which was unheard of at that time. We became known as Eli's girls. You will always be part of Eli's girls. We all grew up really fast at that time, and you tried to take on a lot of responsibility. Boy, did we ever butt heads. Then 13 years later, we were tested again with the loss of our father. But the sense of family that was instilled in all three of us never wavered. Tobie, being a new mother of only 4 weeks, flew back to New York from California with Lisa so we could all be together. And she stayed for 3 months to make sure that Rhoda and I were okay. What could I say, but the circle of sisterhood is truly unbreakable. We may not have always agreed, but there was never a question of our love for each other. Our final test was the day you were diagnosed with leukemia. There was never a question in my mind that I was going to be your match. I said this even before we knew the results. I was not only your match, but I was a perfect match. Now we knew why our parents brought me home. You gave me a necklace on the day of the transplant with a beautiful note. This necklace had 2 circles. The larger one was the circle of love and life. And the smaller one was the circle of sister love. In the middle was a star, and you said I was your shining star. You put up a valiant fight. Tobie, you will always be my shining star. You will always be with me. I love you with all my heart and will miss you tremendously. Beautiful. We rise for Amalei Rachamim. The prayer that prays that Tobie should be taken up in the eternal refuge and protected by God's protective wings. And I'm going to pause in the prayer, and I want to invite you to, when I pause, insert whatever you called Tobie, whatever your name for her was. I'd like you to insert that. And I'll do it first in Hebrew and then El Malei Rachamim, Shohan Bamramim, Chamsei Miruchan Yechana, Tachat Kanfei Hoshukina, Im Kiddushim Utuchorim, Kazachera Kia Masirat et Nishmat. Mom.
Tobie. Grandma. Say grandma.
Shehalacha le'olama ba'aharachamim Yastirechu b'sater kanfei le'olamim Yitzror b'tzror chachayim et nishmata Adonai v'nafalata v'tanuach b'shalom b'shkava v'nomah Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say. Okay, we are ready to lower. Do you have, yes, remain standing. Do you have pottage cards?
I do, yes. Do you want to see it right now or what?
No, watch this lower. No, let's do pottage. And then we'll fill join our voices together in the Kaddish prayer that both mentions our grief, but more our obligation to go on and live our lives. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba, Na'ama, Dibra, V'yute, V'yamlith Malvute, V'chayachon, V'yomechon, V'chayed, V'chobet Yisrael, V'agala, Uzman Kari, V'yamlith. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Ulamei Amaya. Yiparach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitраman V'yitnaseh. V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shmei Kudsha Barichu. Ela Min Kol Birkata V'shirata. Tishbakata V'nechamata. V'amiran V'amal V'yivru. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yivru. Amen. Osei Shalom B'mrama. Kuya Asei Shalom. Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yivru. May God grant peace to those who mourn and comfort to all the bereaved among us. Let us say. So it is considered a mitzvah, a great show of respect to make sure that those beloved will cover burial. And so one of the ways we do that is we assist with the filling in of the grave. So I'd like to invite you to come around either way, just be careful of the grave, and take a shovel and take some of the dirt and put it in. And you can also, if you don't want to touch the shovel that other people have touched, you can take some in your hand and just put it in. We won't fill the whole grave, but you can ceremoniously take a shovel. Oh, okay. And there's 4 shovels, so if you want to go take a shovel. And then when you're done, just put the shovel back in the dirt for the next person.
Rabbi, would you announce that my house is open? No, they're not. Is it Bob's house or is it Bob and Tobie's house? I don't know. Navigate.
My nephews, Isaac and Elliot, and my niece. Karen and Michael.
So this concludes the formal end of our service. I invite you to take your time, embracing each other, sharing stories, crying, saying goodbye in any way you need to. And then everyone is welcome to come over to Bob and Tobie's house afterwards. There's food and a chance to just be together. May you go forth into life. May you be blessed.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Under the circumstances, I'd love to hug you. And,
David, I put you on my hug list. I have a list I'm keeping of all the hugs that I'm owed after COVID is over.
and thank you for being very special to her.
Just didn't want to. We tried to talk about it.
Yeah.
Didn't want to talk about it.
Stuff with having to do all this myself.
You have a
Yeah, I don't know what they reserve.
I'm available. That's great. Available.
So somebody will get a hold of you. They'll get a twofer.
Absolutely. Whatever you want. Whatever you want. Yeah.
You're welcome to use my my toilet seat, Joe. I used laughter to get through this.
That is. Did you read the Harry Potter series?
Well, I can tell you that Stacy and Lisa can attest to this.
Thank you everyone for your attendance.